Hey guys, this is Mark Salmon again. I'm doing a little review of the Innova Thunderbird. Now, as far as retail goes, to my knowledge, the only Thunderbirds that are available are the Champion Jolly Launcher Thunderbird with the Paul Macbeth 3-time stamp and the G-Star Thunderbird with just regular G-Star stamp. You can also purchase on the factory store factory seconds of both discs, and currently, as of right now, which we're in May of 2015, you can still purchase the Star CFR Thunderbirds, which are swirly, and most of them max weight 175. But the reason why we're doing a review on the Thunderbird is because myself and other people I play with have noticed that each Thunderbird kind of flies differently. Now, when they came out with the Innova Thunderbird, which wasn't too long ago, maybe a couple years ago, they kept preaching it was just a longer T-Bird. So everybody was kind of excited about this because everyone loves throwing the T-Bird. I love throwing the T-Bird. Most people I play with carry at least one T-Bird. Some carry two or three. And people were excited about this disc. And the pros are starting endorsing it and stuff like that. So we picked up some. I picked up first one I picked up was a Champion Jolly Launcher Thunderbird. I got the weight that the store had. I got it at a regular store. I didn't get it online. They had 171, but it's still close enough to max weight to where it should have been. Should have been good enough for at least this review that we're doing right here. The second one I picked up was from the factory store. It was a factory second, simply because the disc was so popular, the stores were running out of the G-Star before you could even go buy one. So we ended up getting a couple off the factory store, and since then I have purchased an actual G-Star, and it flies the same. And then I was fortunate enough to get well, not just one, I actually got several Star Thunderbird CFRs off of the factory store, which I say as of right now, currently they're still on there. At least one of the stamps is still on there. As far as the review goes, I'll start with the Champion Jolly Launcher Thunderbird. 171 grams. This disc for me, when I'm playing on a course and I have a hole that's under 350 feet, I always used to throw a T-Bird. But with the T-Bird, I had to really, for my weak throws, which, let me go ahead and say, disclaimer here. Me and most of the people that I play with, our max distance will be 400 feet. But most of the time, we're going to get between 325 and 350. Just because of the wind or because we don't know really how to throw sometimes. So I bought this disc because I wanted something that could get there a little bit easier than the T-Bird. So I bought this Jolly Launcher, and I went out and threw it. And my first thought was, wow, this is a great disc. But then as I started to really get used to it and started throwing it more, I realized that if I release it flat, no angle, just a straight, flat, fast release, this disc would turn, kind of like maybe an SL or a Dominator, something that's high speed turn, but definitely turning, and that's not really what the T-Bird does. So almost instantly, this disc was in my bag and then came out of it because I didn't need a turnover disc. I already have plenty of those, and discs that are stable, stable and just straight, not stable, overstable, stable and straight. They beat in, so you can always use a disc to make it be flippy. I didn't need to buy one that was already flippy. So my opinion on the Jolly Launcher Thunderbird is that maybe the extra 4 grams will help it be more stable, but I'm not a big fan of this disc. And the only time I would actually throw this is if I want a distance flick, something that's just going to keep going straight and not hook up crazy right. But other than that, this disc is not going to be in my bag. The second one I'll review is the G-Star one. Once again, it's a factory second stamp, but I've thrown both the regular retail G-Star and this one. They fly the same. This disc, right out of the bag, right off the shelf, is actually a very T-Bird-like disc. Most people think I'm stupid saying that the G-Star is actually more stable than the Champion Jolly Launcher, but this is the truth. at least in my case and a few of the people that I play with. When this disc is flown hard and flat in no wind whatsoever, it flies straight and then it hooks up a little at the end, just like it says it's supposed to do. The only problem is that the T-Birds, when they came off the shelf, they could handle a little bit of headwind. We all thrown T-Birds, we know that they can get turned over real easy in headwind. But this disc can't really hold any wind whatsoever. And if there's any type of left or right or headwind, it'll just keep carrying. It won't flip. Now this disc will not flip, but it'll just keep carrying and kind of go off the path that you want it to go. And it still flies for miles. Same thing with the Jolly Launcher. This still gets a good 325, 350 for me. But this flies so much straighter than the Jolly Launcher. And it's my go-to driver, essentially right now, for anything under 350 feet. Or that anything I know I can get to the hole, and I'm actually working on control rather than just distance. I actually want to land this next to the basket rather than just get it to the basket. So I recommend the G-Star. And the last one I'll review is the Star, the CFR. Now the camera's doing a kind of weird thing with the stamp here, but hopefully you can see that. If you can't, go online and look at these stamps. The discs are made out of this swirly star material, and there's a head stamp and a basket stamp. So I recommend getting multiples of each, because the plastic actually feels like old Star plastic used to back 5 or 6 years ago. And this disc right here, 175 grams. This disc is very, very, very stable. I'd almost say it's overstable. I would compare this to maybe a Starfire, or maybe even like a seasoned Firebird, a Firebird you've been throwing for a long time. Now, the benefit of this disc is that it's more overstable than the G-Star, and definitely more overstable than the Jolly Launcher. So once this disc gets some wear and starts to beat in, it's going to fly for miles. It flies as far as a Destroyer for me. And it has nice grip with this nice plastic that they've come out with. So I recommend the Thunderbird Star in areas where I would not use the G-Star, headwinds, or maybe even just a situation where I want to make sure the disc will go straight, still finish left with no thought. As far as which Thunderbird I actually recommend everyone to go out and buy, obviously, if you're wanting one you're going to play with every day and right off the shelf it's going to fly right, I would say the G-Star Thunderbird. If you want a disc that you're going to hang on to for a while and rely on for years to come, I would spend the $20 while they have them and buy a Star CFR Thunderbird off the Innova factory store, because once these things sell out, they may or may not bring them back, and these things are going to be very expensive online. But definitely the Jolly Launcher Thunderbird, just take that. And I honestly would give that to your wife and maybe tell her to throw. So anyways, that's the disc review for the Innova Thunderbird. Thanks, guys.